What's going on, everybody? Payneblade back here again with another Marvel Future Revolution video, guys. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. I wanted to first off start off by thanking Hope, Newfin, and a few others who have helped me do some testing here to figure out some stats. And we're going to talk about how stats work in this game and how you want to build the character. So right now there is no glossary for what stats do. So what we've done, a few of us have got together and try to break a few myths. Now I'm going to go through every single stat and explain to you its purpose, what it's used for, and then the stats that we are still currently testing and we don't know about. So bear with me here, guys. I'm going to be doing some bosses while this happens, but I'm going to go to the stat sheet real quick and we're going to talk a little bit about a few of them. So the first three base stats that everyone's going to start with and going to focus on, of course, is going to be attack, HP, and defense. Now these base stats, guys, are going to be your go-to stats, right? And everything else is a multiplier essentially of those stats to some extent. Some of them are independent of those, and I want to talk about which ones are which. All right, so let's go to the hero info and let me try to help you guys understand what each stat does. All right, so attack, very straightforward, guys. Attack is the amount of hits you do. So right now we know there's a min and a max, right? So every attack that you hit an enemy with will have a minimum threshold of damage that it does based on your attack and other factors, of course, and then there's a maximum amount of damage. Now from seeing a lot of these videos that I've been putting together and all the farming I've been doing, it seems like it's almost a minus 10% to a plus 10% damage rate from the min and max. That's on basic normal non-crits. Okay, so just want to paint that out for you guys. So attack is the amount of damage you're outputting. All right, defense is the amount of mitigation you do incoming. So that defense is specifically for PvE and it scales PvP differently, and I'll explain to that shortly. But defense is essentially when somebody hits you and you don't dodge a mechanic, or if you don't evade it, how much can you take and how much of that do you mitigate through defense. Okay, and lastly, HP, of course. HP is pretty straightforward. If you look at your health bar, you can see here I've got 96,000. The more HP you have, obviously the longer you will survive. There is no mitigation for HP, but the more of it you have, the bigger the health pool, the harder it is for you to fall, right? So those are the three basic stats. All right, now let's go down and talk about HP recovery. Now HP recovery is the ability to recover X amount of HP per tick if you're not in combat, or if you are in combat after a few seconds. Now I have not calculated the amount of seconds it takes to recover HP. It could be every 10 seconds, could be every 15 seconds. That's something I will try to look at next time and try to figure that out, but that is your HP recovery pool. So if you are looking to max that out because you're just struggling with surviving, HP recovery right now is not a very strong stat. I would avoid doing it and focus more on evading and dodge and defense over HP recovery. But that's essentially what it is. It is the amount of HP you can recover during a battle or outside of a battle when your HP is below 100%. All right, stamina. Now everything is revolved around stamina in terms of your skills specifically, right? So the more you use skill-wise, the more stamina it's going to eat up. Now stamina itself stays at 100. There's no way to go above that currently in the game. But stamina recovery, there is a way to recover more stamina. Of course, that is the stat. So same thing as HP recovery. There is a simple way of recovering your stamina, which a lot of toons will require. So a lot of heroes will require. So stamina recovery is your ability to recover stamina within battle or outside of battle. All right. And then lastly, the ultimate skill gauge recovery. I'm going to go into the actual battle I'm in right now. You can see here my skill gauge is maxed. I'm going to use it. And you guys can see here it starts off as 0. The higher your skill gauge to recover, the faster this ticks. All right, so somebody who wants to use their special all the time, you want to put a little bit into that, because if your special is your go-to damage dealing move or it's your support, ultimate recovery is actually pretty important for characters. So that's one thing to keep note of, guys, when you're doing this. Sorry, there's another boss here that I gotta go kill. So that is something definitely, guys, put some focus on if you are going to be using a lot of ultimates. All right, so let's get to this boss real quick before we continue on with the explanation. Let's get there. I wish you could go. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna speed it up a tad bit. Spider-Man can go a little faster. I mean, everybody has this this dash, right? All right, there it is. Screaming spider. Let's make the spider scream, boys. Okay, so while this is going in auto, and we're not gonna have much problems here, we're gonna continue going through the spec sheet. So we stopped off at ultimate skill gauge recovery. Okay. Accuracy rate. This one was the controversial one. So right now in the game, dodge is OP. right? So Spider-Man specifically has a ton of dodge. Black Widow can build dodge. You can essentially build dodge on anybody. And dodge essentially is moving away from any source of damage that's coming in. You completely dodge, you take no damage. So it's superior to defense in the fact that there's completely no mitigation required. It's a complete miss on the opponent's part, and you'll see the words dodge pop up. So Spider-Man has a lot of dodge. Spider-Man, I'm sitting at 65.1%. This is not even my dodge outfit. I'm just wearing my DPS outfit right now. My dodge one sits around 75%. Accuracy rate originally was thought to be the amount of min-max damage that you do. That's actually false. What accuracy rate is the complete counter to dodge. All right, so shout out to my boy Hope and Newfin for doing this with me. So Hope and I tried to do, and we recorded this, hit rate, right? We thought maybe hit rate was initially the counter to dodge, and it wasn't. We did 50% hit rate compared to 65% dodge, and he missed almost 90% of the time. It was 37 out of 100 and something misses. So that was the first attempt. Then he went down to 1% hit rate and then attempted, and he hit 28 out of 92. So the percentages were very similar. So we're like, you know what? That stat does not affect it like it was originally thought of. So we tested with accuracy rate instead. With Newfound and I, he had 100 something percent, I had 170%, and we almost hit each other non-stop, even though we're both Spider-Man with over 65 to 70% dodge. So accuracy rate is the counter to dodge, guys. So heads up on that. For anyone who was wondering, if you're looking to fight people with a lot of dodge, this is the bad boy you want to focus on. All right, now dodge. We already explained the mechanic. Very OP. Not every character is going to have a high percentage of dodge, or their gear will have a high percentage of dodge. As a matter of fact, a lot of characters don't require dodge because they play a different role. Spider-Man, on the other hand, does require it, so he's going to have a specialization built into it. He's going to have moves that are built into it. So keep that in mind when you're building your dodge. It may be OP for certain characters, but dodge is not going to be the bread and butter for everything. All right, critical rate. All right, so critical rate and critical damage rate, or critical damage, go hand in hand. So crit rate is a percentage to up your basic attack by a certain amount based on the critical damage multiplier that you have. So in order to hit 165.6% harder than my attack, I have a 41% chance. So if you're going to build crit damage, which is one of the biggest and best multipliers for damage you can do, you need to have a high crit rate. Now apparently, don't quote me on this. This is, again, I'm hearing this, and I haven't personally tested it, but there's a hard cap of 75% currently on crit rate, so there's no point in going above that. I don't know if that's true. The reason why I say I don't know if that's true is because I haven't been there. So I'm just saying what I hear, but don't take that with a grain of salt right now, guys. Right? So 41.6%, 165.6% extra damage. So what that means, guys, 41% of the chance that I do a hit, roll of the dice, 41% chance, I hit 165.6% harder. Now, that's not to say there is not another. So as you can see here, it's 140.6. So the base crit damage starts off at 15%. No, sorry, 25%. So 25%. So crit damage base starts off at 25%. So everybody, at least Spider-Man, gets 25% base damage. So from there you build up. Same with crit. You start off with 15% base crit rate, okay? So if you're going to build a character with a ton of crit rate, you want to make sure your attack and your critical damage are extremely high. If you're going with high crit rate and you have really low crit damage, you're not doing yourself any favors. Focus on attack at that point. But if you have high crit damage, you definitely want to increase your crit rate so that crit damage procs. All right, pretty straightforward. Crit damage decrease. Now this is the amount of damage that a crit does to you. All right. So if you're going to be fighting people like Black Widows who have 100% crit rate with the ultimate, you want to build this up to some extent if your dodge is low. So when they do hit you with that crit, you take 33.3% less damage. All right. So that's a very important one. Okay, defense pierce. Very straightforward. It's a very good stat. It's a very good stat against people who have a lot of defense and for those who you just want to melt. So essentially everybody has defense, and what you do is by having defense pierce at a certain percentage, you remove 32.4, in my case, 32.4% of that person's defense when you attack them. So you cut through that defense, especially tanks like Captain America who have a lot of defense and they're spec defensively. This is the way you want to beat those characters. Now right now defense pierce is good, but there aren't really heavy tank characters. There will be a lot more in the future. I'm positive of it. So this stat will probably be increased quite largely later on. All right, hit rate. This this is the weird one. This is the one we still don't know. Now, there's some testing going on. I have some videos personally. Some people believe it is how often you hit, how much faster you hit with your basic attacks. That could be it. I don't know yet, guys. I'm not going to say anything about this. And some people believe it is the increase of your min-max damage. I don't think that's right, to be quite honest with you. So I'm going to... The hit rate might very well be your basic attack speed. We don't know yet. And unfortunately, there's no glossary, so we will be testing that one more often. All right, cooldown decrease. This is to decrease your cooldown. So everybody has cooldowns on their... Oh, see, let's claim this. And claim this. And claim this. Everybody has cooldowns that they have to deal with, and this is a part of any MMO, any fighting game. But you see here all my moves right here, right? I'm going to go ahead and attack one right now. You'll see it has a cooldown here by 16%. The higher your cooldown increase is, the faster that cooldown will come up. All right, so a lot of people may want to focus on that if their character is very skill heavy, especially if you have really long cooldowns. That will be one of the best things to do. Cooldown decrease will make those long cooldowns go shorter, which means you can actually perform your moves a lot more. Okay, total damage. Now this is the all-encompassing stat. This one is essentially all of your moves are done, all of your stats are taken, and then it multiplies by your total damage. So this here is the last bit of damage that you'll see at the end of it all, okay? So this takes into account attack, crit damage, defense, pierce. It takes into PvP damage, takes into account supervillain damage. So everything essentially gets taken into account, and then it adds on the total damage. So this is the best raw damage multiplier is total damage, right? And I've noticed this because I removed all my total damage off, and then I started doing it with the 26.7%, and I do that much more damage. Very close to it. I mean, there's min-max, of course, but that's essentially what total damage is from what I've seen. Debuff resistance. Now this is your ability to resist people trying to debuff you, all right? So this is your mitigation to debuff. So people are trying to blind you, shock you, burn you, etc. I have a 29.3% to resist that. Now when you do a debuff, if someone tries it on you, you'll notice the word resist pops up. That's your debuff resistance kicking in, all right? Debuff accuracy. Now this is your ability to land debuffs, all right? So this is a good counteract to debuff resistance. Now from what I've seen, it seems to be almost a 1-to-1 ratio. All right, guys. So I have 131.5%. As you can see here, everybody has 100% defense, and then debuff accuracy, and here you have 0. Okay, so the amount that I put into debuff resistance will help me protect me from debuffs to land. But if somebody has 0% debuff resistance, I have 100% chance to land it. Now you go above to counter debuff resistance. So my 131.5 is still 100% to this 29.3, right? But if this person had 40%, now my 131 is down to 90 something. All right, so keep that in mind. They're a complete counter to one another. All right, PvP damage decrease. Now these two are huge for PvP players. They're like your total damage, essentially. The amount you output in PvP, that's considered Dark Zone, that's considered Dimensional Duel, and that's considered in Omega War. So if you're going to be a PvP heavy player, these are the two stats you really want to focus on. It almost feels like it takes into account all the stats that I mentioned, except for total damage. I don't know if total damage applies to this. I didn't test it. I'm assuming it would though. So these two though, you can't go without it. Without PvP. Like this is where you want to focus on. So this is why it's so important to have multiple sets, right? So PvP damage is the amount you output. PvP damage decreases the amount you mitigate coming into you, okay? Guard damage. Now guard damage, every villain or any enemy or any player has a bar, okay? So there's a bar on every player, and it's a blue bar, and everybody starts at 100%. Your guard damage, okay, in your skills will say low, medium, high. All right, now that means how quickly you can break someone's guard. This stat specifically, the guard damage stat, actually helps you boost that damage even further and break that guard damage or guard rate even quicker, putting the enemy in a stun mode for, I think it's like 5 to 7 seconds, and lets you beat them up as much as you can. So mine only is 7.3%, and guard damage decrease on your end, you also have that same bar. It reduces it by 11.4% for someone who has very high guard damage. So if you're fighting an opponent and they have insane guard damage, your guard damage decrease helps your shield stay up longer, okay? Super villain damage. All right, this one here is when you're fighting prime villains. So people like Maestro, Loki, Fenris, etc., right? You do 36.1% more damage to those specific tombs. Now this stat does not apply to every villain. It just specifically applies to super villains, all right? So those are the prime villains only. Supervillain damage decreases the amount of damage they do less to you. Now this is taken into account after all your defense, all your mitigations are taken into effect, but only from supervillains. All right, so keep that in mind. Surface to air damage, air to surface damage are useless. It's essentially how much damage you do going from the surface to the air, and then the other one is air to the surface, so coming down. And then villain damage is straight damage from minions. So regular villains, minions, whoever the case may be. That's not a very good stat either. But that's essentially it, guys. Those are the stats. So based on the character you're going to build, based on who you want to use, you're going to focus on specific stats over others. All right, please do not try to build everybody the same. Not all characters in this are equal. All right, so people are going to have more effect. For example, Captain America will require more defense because he has a defense specialization, plus he is a tank. Spider-Man will require dodge. Somebody like Black Widow will require crit damage, right? So everybody will eventually have their own niche and specialty, so please understand your stats and how they work. So I will do my best, guys, to continue testing other stats and figuring out how hit rate works. I think we're almost in the middle of getting that all together. There's a lot of extensive training or testing going on by multiple people, so once we figure that out, guys, we'll get it to you. All right, guys, this is Payne. Hope you enjoyed the video. Have a wonderful day, everybody. We'll talk soon.